Hi everyone, how are you doing? Hi, Silence, my biggest fan. You know, it's so funny. Uh, the results came out for like Twitch Wrapped or whatever, right? And I watched you, Kidium, for 11 hours, and then I sent like 2,000 messages, and I was like, oh my god, I can't shut up. Um. So like I don't know if I'm your biggest fan, but I could be. Um Today we're playing Umineko when they cry once more. Hello Mirror. Congrats on the first. Um uh yeah, so yesterday, right, there was a mosquito in my room, multiple actually. This seems like a thing I seem to go through a lot. Um and so I decided to give up on killing the mosquito. Um, so I was like, I'll just put my earplugs in because like I just can't like sleep when like I'm trying to sleep and then I hear it and then like the adrenaline rushes through my body. Like I can't do that. So like I'm like, okay, well I just have to not hear the mosquito. Like I'll just let it bite me or whatever. Um, yeah, you, Kidium. So true. Better than I thought considering the massive cut on your foot. That's crazy. But yeah, so we ball. We're late a little bit. But it's okay. We're chilling. We're literally chilling. Um, no, it's okay. I mean, we're about to from what I understand, we're about to read through murders that are like really gruesome. So like a cut on your foot is like so whatever burger, right? Um, yeah. I'll just eat my single delicious egg and then we can get started. Sorry, I think that's so funny. I hope your cut heals. I once stepped on so many barnacles. Uh, and had cuts on the bottom of my foot. It was the worst. Horrible place for cuts. I once stepped on so many barnacles is such a good sentence. I feel like my notes must have disappeared. Um, because I'm pretty sure. Did the dinner start happening? The dinner was awkward, right? I can't remember. It's okay. We'll go back and add this in after the stream, or maybe we won't. Maybe we ball. I have 7,050 messages. So true. You were running on the beach. This totally looks like the middle of the scene. Why did I leave in the middle of the scene? Sorry, we need to go and just like look at what's been going on because I don't remember. Is this still mid-dinner? Yeah, it's like raining and it's like, oh my god, you can only scroll back a certain amount. That's crazy. I think I should scroll back infinitely. They're still mid-dinner. You were frolicking. The frolicker. The art is so fun. How can anyone not like this art? Sorry, I'm just looking at the sprites. And it's so, like, fun. Kyrie's doing, like, a colon 3. Seems like some boring dinner discussion. Okay, I'm basically done with my egg. I guess this is a good transition. She's trying to change the subject. Why is there a render of a ham on my Twitch wrap? I don't know. I didn't get a ham. Why didn't I get a ham? It's so awesome. Okay, I gotta lock in. I'm not locked in. I love when people copy the style. Yes, yes. It's so obvious when people are trying to copy the style because the style is so good. Kyrie-san had obviously been trying to change the subject. However, if Kyrie-san had determined that this was the best course of action for now, then she was probably right. Taking this into account, I cast aside my suspicions as to the cause behind Aunt Ava and Dad's bad moods. At long last, the serving cart returned, filled with coffee and tea. No ham? Kumasawa-san and Shannon-chan served it to everyone. Goda-san then explained that this concluded tonight's meal. If only the mood had been a bit more cheery, it might have been the best dinner in my life. It was a shame this best of dinners couldn't have been had under the best conditions. Lock in, lock in. Joy-Johnny-chan, is dinner over now? Over? Yes. With this, dinner is finished. Don't be rude. Stay in your seat and calmly drink up. Maria looked like she was really excited by the occasionally crashing thunder. Hype! Hype moments. Maybe she wanted to quickly finish eating and run over to the window. She had been fidgeting for a while, waiting for the meal to end. That's so real. Some people are afraid of Thunderball, others find it interesting, and Maria was apparently one of the latter sort. Therefore, when she heard from George and Nikki that dinner was over, a huge smile broke across her face. She then rose from her seat, took out her handbag, which she'd set under her seat, never having left it even while she was eating, and began fishing around inside of it. Her beautiful bag. No one seemed particularly concerned by this behavior. What an odd thing to say. No one seemed particularly concerned by this behavior. Is it because they're about to be? Yeah, they're about to be. What's that? Where did you get it? George was the first to notice it. As he spoke, Badler noticed too. Oh yeah, oh yeah, they're about to get real concerned now. They saw that Maria was now holding a beautiful Western-style envelope. On the front of the envelope, the Ushiromiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, was done in gold leaf. Furthermore, the fact that it was sealed with dark red wax made it clear that this wasn't something Maria could have brought as a prank. I'm concerned. Maria-chan, what is that? It seemed that Natsuhi had also noticed the strangeness of the envelope Maria was holding. Her voice sounded too serious for someone admonishing a small child, so the relatives around us finally noticed, too. The one-winged eagle which she's not allowed to wear. What happened, Natsuhine-san? What is that? I miss Ava. I love voicing Ava. She's like a little bitch. Maria, where did you pick that up? That envelope has Kinjo-san's. When Nanjo muttered that even us kids could understand why everyone seemed to be frozen solid. The envelope that Maria held was one of the Ushiromiya family head's custom-made envelopes for private use. In other words, it could only mean one thing. This envelope contained a message from Kinzo. Oh, what is an envelope like that doing here? Oh, now that's an interesting thing to come jumping out at us. Just let me have a peek. Eh, no way! I'll read it. I was told to read it to everyone. Uncle Hideyoshi tried to snatch the envelope out from Maria's hands. Oh my god, don't do that, don't do that, man. This is Hideyoshi's first cringe moment. But she protected it as though hugging it and didn't let go. Literally. Hideyoshi-san, you can't use force against a child. Maria-chan, where did you get this envelope? I got it from Beatrice and she gave me the umbrella. She told me to read it to everyone after the meal is over. I'm the witch's messenger! Messenger? The almighty witch of the island sure likes to mess around. Battler tried to joke about it, but no one laughed. No one laughed at your stupid joke, Battler. It's serious time. I wonder what's written inside of it. Maria-chan? Gotta read it. She's so real for that, literally. Maria casually opened the envelope. It was sealed with only wax, so she just had to remove the sealing wax to open it. That sealing wax fell onto the desk. Hideyoshi hastily picked it up and stared fixedly at it, checking for the crust, of course. He then set it in the center of the table where Natsuhi, Kirie, and Nanjo stared at it. Imprinted in the sealing wax was the one-winged eagle, which was the Ushiromiya family crest and also Kinzo's personal crest. This is the family head's personal crest. I know it from the letters I have received from Kinzo-san before. Without a doubt, this is his wax seal. But aren't there several things in this mansion bearing that crest? For example, if there was some kind of stamp for wax seals, couldn't someone other than Kinzo-san have used it? No, because he locks everything up in a stupid study, right? This is what they're gonna say. They're gonna say, no, because everything is in his stupid little study, which no one's allowed in except for him, and then, like, fucking Genji. Okay, hold on. Uh... Let's... Oops. No, no, no. Hold up, hold up. I think there are some bits I'm missing, but... dinner time. Okay, and I'll just start from the part where Maria pulls out the envelope. One-winged eagle crest on envelope and wax seal. So true.
No, Ginzo-san would always use a ring on his finger, his proof of the Ushiromiya family headship when he sealed the wax. This shape and complex design is definitely Kinzo-san's seal.
That is not necessarily so. Anyone in the family must have received a letter from father at least once. We can't eliminate the possibility that someone used that wax as a model to create a fake seal and pass themselves off as father. I agree with Aniki. No matter how much the seal resembles Dad's, we can't prove that it's the real thing. Still doesn't prove this envelope came from him. They're all deniers. They're all deniers.
I absolutely agree. I cannot approve of arbitrarily deciding that this letter came from father, based solely on the wax seal. Dr. Nanjo, couldn't you use a bit more discretion with your vague words? With your vague words? I apologize. It was not my place to speak.
One after another, all of the siblings from Kraus on downwards rejected Nanjo's statement, saying that the envelope Maria held wasn't necessarily from Kinzo. They were afraid. They feared from the bottom of their hearts that Kinzo's intentions were written in there, and that it might be some announcement regarding the inheritance that would be decidedly unfavorable to them. Let's discuss the envelope for 20,000 years and not look at the letter. Yeah, who needs to look at the letter? No one needs to look at the letter. Maria, the person who gave you that envelope was the same person who lent you that umbrella, right?
Eh,
I don't know what means. Is it true?
yes.
Uh, So, in other words, the witch, Beatrice, gave Maria-chan that envelope along with the umbrella? Yeah, fuck, Nanjo. Like, I mean, maybe there's someone who signed the letter, so why speculate? Literally, literally. Maria nodded forcefully. I agree with my husband. It's a dubious letter handed over by some suspicious person. Oh, Maria's gonna be upset with that. It isn't worth reading. Battler! Battler about to get himself caught in the fucking crossfire.
There's nothing wrong with just reading it, right?
He was saying it just to Jessica. That's fine, I guess. Battler said it to Jessica in a small voice, trying to act tough, but Natsuki heard him clearly and glared at him with threatening eyes. And then, Beatrice told you to read it after the meal was over, right, Maria?
Ugh.
It's okay, everyone. This envelope didn't come from grandfather, but from Beatrice. Regardless of who actually wrote it. Why can't we just hear what's inside before we decide? Yeah. It's literally from Beatrice. It's not from grandfather.
That's right.
Even if father didn't necessarily write it, I'd still like to know what's written inside. Maria-chan, I'm sorry I tried to take it from you by force earlier. I apologize, so will you read it out aloud in front of everyone? Maria, read it.
Ugh.
As all the relatives stared fiercely at Maria, she spread the letter open with a rustle.
Do you think it really did come from Dad?
Shut up, dude! She's trying to read the letter! Shut up! Impossible. Whenever father has announced something to us in the past, he was always send Genji if he didn't do it directly, correct?
I cannot believe that he would use such a joke-like approach, especially because Kinzo apparently doesn't like Maria. Why would he ever go through Maria, right? That's right, Maria. Messenger? That definitely doesn't suit father's tastes. Rosa, could this be Maria-chan trying to surprise us by putting on some kind of show? Maria isn't really a kid who'd be capable of something so thoughtful. Gonna read it! Ugh. The words came out of Maria's mouth, but for some reason, her voice seemed different from usual. Everyone went suddenly silent. Welcome to Rokenjima, members of the Ushiromiya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family employed by Kinzo-sama himself. The music. The music. That's crazy. Quiet. I have served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but on this day, Kinzo-sama has announced the final suspension of that contract. Therefore, I ask that you acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist from this day forth. Family alchemist is such an interesting title. Wax seal looks like the one on Kinzo's finger, but who knows? We can't know anything. Oh, the music is going so hard. How foolish. What nonsense. Everyone can't stop talking. I can't stand to listen to it. And now, there is one part of the contract that must be explained to all present. I, Beatrice, lent Kinzo-sama a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of these terms specifies that all the gold is to be returned to me upon the termination of the contract. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Ushiromiya family as interest. Ridiculous! It's been ridiculous from the very beginning. So it's basically one of those things, right? Doesn't it sound just like one of those contracts with the devil? The contract has expired, so they've come to collect the interest. Is she trying to grab some retirement money for her old age or something? What a cheeky witch! Adlerco, now isn't the time to joke around. Badler made a face as if to ask, I can't make fun of this? What can I make fun of? Some of the adults' faces were pale while others looked dazed. After hearing this, you may feel as though Kinzo-sama has been savagely ruthless. However, Kinzo-sama did append a special clause to the contract so that you would have a chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If and only if that special clause is fulfilled, I will lose my rights to the gold and interest for all eternity. A special clause? What is it? Special clause. Beatrice retains the right to collect the gold and accumulated interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. The collection of the interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the terms of this special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion that has already been collected. Furthermore, as the first step in this collection of Kinzo-sama's debt, I have taken possession of the Ushiromiya family head's ring, which signifies the passage of the Ushiromiya family headship from one individual to another. I ask that you confirm this for yourselves by examining the imprint on the wax seal.
Kraus is coming undone. Look at his face.
They're trying to claim that that's the meaning behind this seal. That father would relinquish his ring is unthinkable.
Kraus stared at the sealing wax as if trying to burn a hole through it. His unyielding silliness. Ava and Rudolph were doing the same over his shoulder.
Come to think of it, when we were playing chess, I did have a strange feeling that something was missing from Kinzo-san's finger.
Dr. Nanjo! Don't say something so careless just because of a vague memory.
We can't prove its authenticity here. Only by asking Father directly can we determine whether he really handed over his ring and whether this letter tells the truth.
It looks like he's melting, literally.
That's right. It's just as Kiryu-san says. You really think Kinzo-san will tell you? After all, that person's thoughts sometimes surpass the bounds of common sense.
No matter what happens, it's still nonsense. In the first place, the illusion of gold itself is one of Father's tricks. I've already heard enough talk of that gold from the rest of you.
But this is the witch speaking, right? About how the inheritance and all the assets will be handed over to the one who finds the gold, right? So maybe Beatrice-sama is Father's legal advisor, or in charge of his funds. We can't possibly trust some strange person to entrust such a suspicious paper to a child. Aniki, we need you to be frank with us. Is it possible Dad's assets are being managed by someone you don't know? No, that's impossible! As the family head's representative, I control all of Father's assets. It should be impossible for anyone to do as they please with them without me knowing it. So, this must mean there's some assets you don't control, right? Krasny-san? How foolish! Such assets could not possibly exist! Oh, but there is such a thing! An asset of Father's that you don't control. There is no way such a thing could exist. No, it does. It's his father's. No, Beatrice's hidden gold! Let's keep it simple. In short, Dad had some trusted confidant that Aniki doesn't even know about. Furthermore, this person has always been in charge of watching and managing the gold. Or, could be some eccentric rich person who offered him the loan with rules like the devil's contract. Could it be that this confidant called Beatrice is trying to test which of Kinzo's children is most worthy to be financed by her gold? Kiryu's question was one that all the siblings wanted answered. Upon reflection, they realized that Kinzo's strange epitaph had hung in the hall beneath the witch's portrait for quite some time. And while it had long been whispered that whoever solved the puzzle would receive everything, no one had ever clearly stated it. It was just something that everyone had hoped might be true. And right here, right now. The thing they'd hoped for had been clearly stated in Beatrice's letter. It clearly specified that everything of the Ushiromiya family would be given to the one who found the gold. Kinzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice the Golden. Yes, the wind. Yes, everything. Father, I know you can hear me. Please respond. Please respond. The door to Kinzo's study was being violently, harshly beaten against over and over again like a percussion instrument. The yells coming from the other side belonged to Kraus, Rudolph, and sometimes Ava. It was the siblings, who were trying to intrude upon Kinzo's study to question him about the truth behind that mysterious letter. Kinzo was eating. An elegant tablecloth was set over the desk, and the fabulous dinner that had adorned the table down in the dining hall was reproduced here. Kinzo continued his meal in silence. Shannon, taking away an empty plate, looked uncomfortably between the door being pounded on and Kinzo's face. Everyone is calling for you, but what should I do? Leave them. God and my meals both hold silence as a virtue. Should I silence them? There's no need. It does not even reach my ears. Kinzo enjoyed his food, apparently indifferent. This is so funny. Hi, Gary. Genji quietly lowered his head and took a single step back. As he did, Kanan, who stood in reserve like a shadow behind and to the side of Genji, opened his mouth. Maria-sama apparently received a letter from Beatrice-sama, so I imagine they want to test its authenticity. How is Kanan doing that? How is Kanan doing that? Why does he always know what's going on? Does he have bugs planted? Like, why does he know that? Why does he know everything? Has she started already then? Beatrice, I have no shortage of coins to be wagered. Shall we enjoy this night to the fullest? I think it's so interesting that I think Kinzo sees this as a fight between him and Beatrice, but Beatrice's letter presents it as a fight between Kinzo and everyone else. I don't think I'll lose. Your smile will be mine for all eternity. If I could see it one more time, I wouldn't regret losing my wealth, my honor, or even my life. Well then, the roulette has begun to spin. Which pocket will the ball fall into? Noir? Rouge? Or the house takes all? Come, you may begin, Beatrice. They put bugs in him! I'll show you the power of miracles once more. Me when I'm gambling, so true. "10 p.m. The strange letter that the witch had entrusted to Maria wiped all memories of dinner from her mind. Maria was repeatedly barraged with questions by Aunt Rosa and the other parents, and became increasingly ill-tempered when they refused to believe her. If we kids tried to butt in, they'd probably ignore us. Our parents were all stirred up, firing back and forth about the gold and the distribution of the assets, and completely forgetting that we were even there. I'd already guessed they'd been talking like this in the shadows, but I hadn't thought they'd be so blunt. It gave all of us kids a considerable shock. From what we could overhear, all the parents wanted more money as soon as possible. Back and forth about grandfather's inheritance. Back and forth about the distribution of the gold if it was found. About advance payments in cash. It was so despicable I could hardly bear to watch, even though one of them was my father. It looked like Jessica felt the same way. We left our seats without being asked to and went to hang out somewhere well away from our parents. I get it. Now I totally see why grandfather hates coming down for meals. I'm so disillusioned with our parents right now. All that about money and the inheritance? How can they act like that right out in the open? Well, I'm already completely disillusioned with my old bastard. There's no way I could think any worse of him. That's exactly the same for me. Still, that freaking shocked me to the core. Jessica looked down at the floor, irritated. She was always talking about how bad her parents were, but maybe she hadn't really felt that way deep inside. The depths of Jessica's shock made that clear. You're all minors being supported by your parents, so you might not understand. But getting money is neither a simple nor a pretty thing. I won't try to force you to understand right now since you're still kids. But even so, I want you to realize that your parents are just doing their best in their own way. Oh, great. George Aniki's gotten all mature. George Nissan, I know you're working hard as a full-fledged member of society, but does that mean you turn into a shameless, greedy vulture like your parents whenever you start talking about money and assets? His ee is so true. If it were only for my benefit, then no, I wouldn't want to do that. However, when your family and your employees, your subordinates and their families are all counting on you, there are some times when you must fight. I hate that kind of fight. That back and forth about grandfather's inheritance just makes me want to puke. Shut the fuck up, George, literally. Jessica pretended to spit violently. That harsh reaction made the depths of her pain very clear. Society of George, shut fuck up. Let's stop talking about this. All this about grandfather's hidden gold, property, and inheritance is our parents' problem, not ours. I agree. At the very least, I think children have a duty to be considerate and stay out of their parents' way when they're talking together. Shut up, George. George, everything that comes out of your mouth fucking sucks. Sounds pretty boring. Everyone knows the phrase adults are filthy, but we had now seen that for ourselves, and that really did give us a considerable shock. George Aniki was now pretty much an adult, and I'd already been disillusioned with my dad, so the shock wasn't that big for us. But Jessica seemed to be taking it hard. Apparently, she'd received a bigger blow than I'd thought. She always talks badly about her parents, but it looks like she hadn't changed at all on the inside. Even now, she's still a pure-hearted, delicate person who can't doubt others. I'm sure she respected her parents as much as anyone else does. And then her parents started raging about, going, money, money, inheritance, inheritance, my money! Right in front of all the other parents and the children. It's no surprise she received such a shock from hearing that. Jessica-chan, please don't start hating your mother and father. I won't ask you to understand them, but at least don't hate them. I get it! Just leave me alone for a bit. 6 years ago, I would have kept taunting Jessica even after she got all dejected. But I guess I really have grown over the last 6 years. Badler patting himself on the back. Oh my god. I realized it'd be better to leave Jessica alone right now. Jessica suddenly looked away sulkily and left the parlor. She probably wanted to be alone for a while. Oh god. What did she say? I could do nothing but wordlessly watch her back as she left. Come to think of it, I wonder where Maria-chan went. She's probably pouting in front of the portrait. Maria truly looked up to witches, and she'd expected that coming in direct contact with Beatrice and receiving the letter as proof would surprise everyone and make them happy. However, the adults had doubted its authenticity, thoroughly bombarding Maria with questions and refusing to accept her story. Wow, Battler's so mature. Yeah, his stupid yellow suit. Like, what is with it? It's so... Who let you get this stupid suit? Like, Badler's is a very tasteful cream, okay? But, like, George's is just bad. Like, why are you wearing a highlighter? Even for me, it wasn't hard to imagine how much that must have hurt Maria. We couldn't speak to Maria or Jessica. In the end, George, Aniki, and I just abandoned ourselves to the sound of the falling rain in the dark night. I wonder what's happening with that typhoon. Maybe there's something about it on the news. George Aniki started walking over to the corner of the parlor where the television was. He hadn't called me over, and I really couldn't have cared less where the typhoon was on the sea now. So without going over to the television, I loitered around the window. The wind hasn't picked up that much here, but I wonder if it's horrible over the sea. I did hear a severe storm warning on the weather report. Ah, Kyrie-san! I take it those big talks between the adults are going smoothly, yeah? She seemed to catch the sarcasm. Kyrie-san shrugged. He's literally Curious George, though. The man? Yeah! Except he's so incurious. He's like the most incurious guy here. I wonder if that stomachache of a discussion will continue all night. It's not going to be fun. Well then, please enjoy playing vultures to grandfather's property as much as you'd like. I feel sick. I'll agree with you on that. If I could just slip away like you, I'd do it. Unfortunately, I can't. Even if I'm not allowed to speak. We spouses have it pretty rough, too. Kyrie-san took a deep breath, smiling bitterly. That's right. They probably wouldn't let Kyrie-san speak since she was only married into the family. Still, as Dad's partner, she had no choice but to stay by his side and support him. She's probably had to bear the full brunt of this mental pressure much more than me. I wasn't going to apologize, but realizing that I'd spoken too harshly, I cut the sarcasm for the time being. So how does it look? Are they still stuck on the topic of the mysterious witch, Beatrice? More or less. Those four siblings are always piling up secret agreements when they come together to discuss the division of grandfather's inheritance. The man, not the monkey. They're saying that some unknown fifth person has appeared and is trying to make things even more complicated, and there is no way that'll make for a peaceful conversation. Just when you think they're snarling at each other, they'll set up a common front. Natsuhine-san's not the only one getting headaches. On the one hand, they all want a larger portion than the other siblings, so they're all rivals. But on the other hand, they don't want 1 yen to be snatched up by anyone else other than the siblings, so they're also all allies. I hadn't been told the details, but the siblings were apparently discussing how to protect their shares under various situations. setting up ceasefire agreements and rules to prevent anyone from getting an unfair advantage, even preparing to resort to legal action if absolutely necessary. That they would go this far to preserve their shares was so beyond disgusting that you just had to acknowledge their resilience.
So, basically, Beatrice is like an assassin sent by grandfather. He probably wanted to scare the hell out of his children for talking about the inheritance without him.
Who is this Beatrice, I wonder? If everything she claims is true, then she's a mystery figure that no one knew about until today. And she also knows about grandfather's hidden gold. That's not true. Everyone knew about Beatrice. Like, she was right there. She was right there in the hall. It's just you all thought she was fake, non-believers. On top of that, she was even entrusted with the head's ring. She must truly have been trusted by him.
Well, obviously, I don't think she's a witch riding around on a broom, but there's no doubt she's a mysterious person who's earned the right to be called a witch.
If only Maria-chan would go into more detail about that. Everyone's been smothering her, even though she's just a little girl. They really scared her, and some things they might have asked now can't be asked. I wonder if those people have ever even read The North Wind and the Sun. So true.
What we do know is that Maria received a letter from a person who took the name Beatrice. She sure is shy for a mystery person, and trusting Maria with a letter and hiding away even now, when she could have just appeared and talked to us directly.
Wow, he's laughing for real and not ee-hee-heeing. Hey, Battler-kun. Do you really think a person called Beatrice actually exists?
Who knows? Doesn't it really seem like a false name? Like, she's grandfather's representative, so she was given permission to take the name of the witch from his delusions?
No, that's not what I meant. Right now, there's a total of 18 people here on Rokkenjima. Do you think there's a 19th person? Yo, this track is also really good. I'm always saying this. Are there really a full 18 people on this island right now? Wondering about that, I began counting on my fingers, and it really did come out to that many. I want to count on my fingers. By which I mean, let's look at the system. Huh. I'm nodding my head.
Do I think that a 19th person exists?
I bet they haven't even read The North Wind and the Sun. This music always creeps me out.
What exactly do you mean?
Just what I said. The person who lent Maria that umbrella, supposedly, wasn't one of us 18. So, isn't it natural to assume that a 19th person exists? And that this person lent Maria the umbrella?
Well, yeah, it sure looks that way.
Then, where exactly is this person now? At the very least, she must have been on the island when it started raining. And ever since that time, the weather has grown progressively worse, so taking a boat out would be pretty much impossible. In that case, that person must still be on the island, hiding from the rain somewhere. And without any of us spotting her.
True? We've been randomly prowling around all over the mansion and the guest house, but no one has bumped into a 19th person. But this island is huge. There might be other places to take shelter from the rain, other than the mansion and the guest house. At about this time, I began to realize what direction Kiryu-san's suspicions were taking us in. Kiryu-san was denying that a 19th person existed. Beatrice was one of us 18. Accounting was so true. In other words, she thought someone we knew well was tricking us. If Beatrice is who she claims, she would surely be the most honored of guests. The most honored of confidants, trusted by Grandfather. There's no way Grandfather wouldn't give that kind of person a warm reception. She would surely have been ushered into the mansion. However, we haven't seen anyone like that. Wait a sec. Isn't this line of reasoning a bit too hasty? Sure, no one spotted this person, but that doesn't mean you can't deny the possibility that a 19th person exists, right? Maybe, for some reason, they landed on the island stealthily and have been hiding ever since. It's what they call a devil's proof. It's easy to prove that something exists. If this Beatrice appears in front of us all and says hi, then it's settled. But it's impossible to prove that there's no 19th person. Yes? Badler-kun, your way of reasoning isn't bad. In our current situation, there isn't enough information to either accept or deny that a 19th person exists.
Agnosticism.
But if you spin the chessboard around and think that way, we can deny the existence of a 19th person with near certainty.
Spin the chessboard around was one of Kyrie-san's favorite phrases. I've been influenced by those words and use them myself from time to time. When you get stuck trying to find a move in chess or shogi, then by spinning the board around and looking at everything from your opponent's standpoint, you can often see a strategy that'll give you the upper hand. It means turning things around and putting yourself in your opponent's shoes. You see? Let's say that a 19th person called Beatrice actually exists. That person must have managed, without being seen by anyone, to stealthily arrive on this island and remain hidden ever since. Maybe they had some reason, okay? Oh wait, is this... Oh, I think this is still the Kyrie, right? Fun fact, this bit made me cry for some reason. In my first playthrough, like the creepy music and idea of there being another unknown person on the island. Oh my god. It's crazy.
In that case, why did they go to all of the trouble of appearing before Maria and handing her the letter? It really was a contradiction. If they had some reason for hiding themselves, it's creepy and scary! Scaries! It's literally scaries! But even so, they had appeared openly in front of Maria. Then, wait, Maria said it herself. She said the witch made her a messenger. Maybe that's because Maria was the youngest and looked the most obedient. Why would they need a messenger? If they just wanted a letter delivered to the family conference, they could have mailed it. If they mailed it to each of the 4 siblings, no one would be able to ignore it. There was no need for this person to carry it themselves and secretly deliver it by hand. Yeah, that does sound pretty weird. In the first place, if Beatrice existed and wanted to make her presence known to everyone, then she could have just openly presented herself to all of us. Despite that, she chose the vague method of appearing through a little girl called Maria-chan, and only gave us a vague impression of who she was. Contradiction. Let's go a little deeper, shall we? She appeared in front of Maria, trying to give us the impression that a 19th person existed, and yet, she still hasn't appeared before us, and is hiding somewhere at this very moment. Think about those contradictions. You've got to keep these things in mind when you spin the chessboard around. In short, if a person wants us to leave us with the impression that Beatrice exists as the 19th person, what might their goal be?
If this person wanted to hide, then they wouldn't have made their presence known. And if they wanted to show themselves to us, they wouldn't have used the roundabout approach of entrusting someone with a letter. Which means... It's simple. Beatrice is one of the 18 people. That's why they wanted to create the illusion that there are more than 18 people. The 19th person was revealed so spectacularly. If someone were to profit from this, it wouldn't be some 19th person in hiding. It'd be one of the original 18 people.
They did it for the drama! They did it for the cunt! Of course, this reasoning is full of holes. If you turn over even a few of its premises, it'll simply fall apart. But I'm almost completely certain it's correct. This is starting to feel pretty creepy. Someone lent Maria the umbrella and handed her the letter. Supposedly, none of the 18 did this. And yet, Beatrice was hidden among those 18. What was this person planning, hiding their true form and pretending to be Beatrice? I suspected it might have been Maria-chan play acting, but the contents of the message were extremely complicated, and it's hard to imagine Maria-chan writing that herself. However, I can't deny the possibility that Maria-chan is working together with someone.
Oh, wait a sec. Maria's a 9-year-old kid, right? What could she possibly be planning, and with whom? And what about her straightforward, overly honest, obedient nature? Yes, I also understand what kind of a person Maria-chan is. But that's exactly why I think it's possible. That girl's a dreamer who can't help but look up to and blindly accept the existence of witches.
Me when it's starting to feel pretty creepy, literally.
So if a person appeared in front of her and claimed to be the witch Beatrice, Maria-chan would happily swallow it up, I think.
So it's not less like Maria's working with someone and more like someone's using Maria.
So you're saying that if someone disguised themselves by wearing that fancy dress from the portrait, tricking Maria wouldn't be that hard?
Of course. With that reasoning, all of us women would become the primary suspects.
Anyway, who did Maria-chan encounter? Learning the details of that question would be the best key to solving this riddle.
The thinker.
But this key has been firmly locked away inside Maria-chan's heart. Everyone denied the existence of the witch without listening to her, barraging her too much with questions about who Beatrice actually was. She probably won't open her heart to the adults now.
Oh!
In the dim hall in front of the portrait of Beatrice, Maria was sobbing. I like that the rain is louder here.
Hinzo dress theory remains. It literally remains.
No one believes I met Beatrice. Even though I showed them the letter Beatrice gave, they still don't believe.
Anyway, Maria-chan's holding the key.
It's so interesting that Kyrie phrases it like this because I feel like that's also how the epitaph phrases it, right? The epitaph says something about the key. That person holds the key.
The key to whether Beatrice is one of the 18 people or a 19th person. Maria's stubborn, right? When that girl gets angry, it's pretty hard to make her feel better.
I believe you, Maria, literally.
Battler-kun, I think a kid like you would be better at cheering her up than an adult like me. After she's feeling better, try asking. I know you don't care about All this back and forth about the inheritance. But don't you find this Western Mansion mystery situation exciting? Who in the world is this person who gave Maria-chan the letter? It makes your intellectual curiosity ache.
You're actually pretty tough, considering you're still excited about after being dragged through that endless money talk.
Me when my takeout doesn't arrive. Hashtag believe women. Literally, literally.
Adults can be pretty amazing.
I shrugged exasperatedly, but I did notice something. Kyrie noticed how dejected I was after overhearing our parents' turbulent discussion, and was probably trying to clear the air. At the very least, I'd recovered enough to voice my complaints. She wasn't my real mother, so I've never felt like calling her mom. But it did make me think, she's a real adult. Hey, Brat, so this is where you were. Kyrie, you really took your time fixing your makeup, didn't you? Think I'll make a habit of going out to touch up my makeup, too. I'm sorry. A woman's makeup takes a long time. So, how has the discussion been without me?
I'm sure everything was all peaceful and harmonious.
Kyrie-san poked the weak spot under my arm with her elbow. We decided to take a break to cool our heads a little. It looks like we'll be at it all night. Makes me want to cry. His way of talking hadn't changed, but he couldn't completely hide his fatigue. I couldn't say I was sympathetic, but he looked pitiful compared to his normal energetic self. Still, that rain's just awful. I really don't want to go back to the guest house. It looks like Natsuhine-san set things up so we could spend the night here in the mansion. What'll we do? We don't need to decide until you're done, right? If you run so low on energy that you can't return to our room, then we can take them up on their offer. You're right. We can think about this later. What about you, Battler?
If I stayed, I'd just get in the way. I'll be nice and go back over there.
I see. Will you go back soon?
I don't know. It'd be lonely to head back by myself. I'll gather all the kids and we'll head out.
Okay, you go do that. Also, Battler, you won't be going to sleep that easily tonight, right?
Yeah, I'll probably be up talking with the cousins. Sounds like we'll be up all night. Is there a problem with that?
I see. If you're still awake when the adults' discussion is over, I want to have a little talk as a family.
What? That doesn't sound like you.
Apparently, Kyrie-san was thinking the same thing. What are you talking about? She asked him in a small voice. It looked like Kyrie-san didn't have a clue what Dad meant either. I also want to talk to you about it, Kyrie. I'll tell you later, so don't ask now. Please. I don't know anyone who neglects the concept of family as much as this old bastard. And now he's saying we're gonna have a talk as a family? Okay. Both Kyrie-san and I couldn't help but get wide-eyed. Like, what the fuck, dude? A family chat after the inheritance discussion concludes. Yeah, it's sus as fuck. Don't look so terrified. I'm the one who should be terrified, after all. At that point, he swallowed his words for an instant. Even though putting on airs of importance wasn't much like my dad.
You're freaking me out, Dad. Everyone in our family's gathered here right now, right? Don't make a big deal out of it and spit it out.
Is he coming out with his court case debt?
Tonight, I will probably be killed.
What a thing to say. Oh, the crash of thunder. There was a huge crash of thunder. Must have been really close. Dad's expression, brightly illuminated by the lightning, was burned into my eyes. Dad's face, which was always so sure of itself and which always wore a taunting expression, was strangely frail in a way I couldn't really explain. It was so worn out that he looked like a different person.
What? What are you talking about? That doesn't sound like you.
I agree. What happened? You look so timid all of a sudden. It's not like you. I'm gonna go fix my makeup too. Don't follow me. Dad turned away weakly. He's gay. After that, only Kyrie and I were left, still wide-eyed.
What did he say? Tonight, he'll be killed?
This Badler face is so funny.
You don't think that mysterious letter scared him, do you? He's been watching too many serial murder movies.
Kyrie didn't answer my light-hearted words and continued to stare at my dad's disappearing back. Badler-kun, when you told Rudolph to spill the beans right away, he left without telling us anything. Even though he said he had something to say to both of us, he didn't answer you. Why? Spin the chessboard around. What do you see?
Well, when he said he wanted to talk but then couldn't, that's a contradiction. What, can you see something by looking from Dad's perspective?
Well, maybe it depends on what happens in the discussion. Yes, I can see something. He wants to talk about something. However, he doesn't have the courage to bring it up. So he actually means chase after me, talk to me, and ask me about it yourself. By saying, don't follow me, he actually means the opposite. He's a tsundere. He actually means follow me and force me to answer. Seriously, what a spoiled brat.
What? Can you really call that reasoning?
That's ridiculous. Can great private and police detectives deduce the emotions and feelings between men and women? They can't, right? Well, actually, it's funny because Shinichi's actually oddly good at this. Like, I think he's actually quite in tune emotionally with, like, the sort of, like, emotional motives behind, like, crimes and stuff. I know we're like, Detective Conan doesn't exist yet, but still. Figuring out the feelings of the opposite sex is an even more advanced art than exposing the tricks in difficult crime cases. If you ask me, romance novels have much deeper mysteries than masterpiece mystery novels.
I see. Is that how it is?
I'll stand alongside that spoiled brat. He normally loves to bluff, but tonight he's completely tired out from that heated discussion. He probably wants someone to lean on at the moment, and responding to that need is the role of his partner.
Ha! Sounds passionate. Then I'll leave that old bastard in your hands.
Yes, leave it to me. I called out to Kyrie-san's departing back.
Huh?
What?
I wanted to say thanks. Thanks to you, my gloomy mood has cleared up a lot.
That's good. Communication is important. After answering with a wink, Kyrie-san followed after Dad. Sicko's moment. Sicko's moment. Ron at Shinichi 2 drinks in. So true. Natsuki could be found in a dimly lit hallway. Now and then, the thunder would crash. I think it's so funny, like, We need to have a talk later, but also I'm getting killed tonight, so where's the talk getting scheduled? You know, if you think you're gonna get killed, like, what do you mean? She looked completely worn out. The discussion that had just taken place between the relatives in the dining hall was repeating itself inside Natsuhi's mind. Beatrice had proclaimed that in addition to the gold, all of the inheritance and property of the Ushiromiya family would be given to the person who could solve the riddle. In other words, she planned to undermine the absolute guarantee that Kraus, as the oldest brother, had to succeed the family head. Originally, the other siblings had absolutely no chance to inherit the headship. To them, this proposal by Beatrice was extremely desirable. It was obvious that they would accept it. There was no need to play some clumsy detective game. Natsuki knew that this so-called 19th person, Beatrice, couldn't exist. Naturally, Beatrice was nothing more than a fictional character used to pass a message that Kinzo had written himself. As proof, Kinzo had remained stubbornly neutral as to that letter's authenticity. He was completely ignoring these reckless claims that he shouldn't be able to ignore, that he had given up on Head's ring. In short, Kinzo had wordlessly admitted that the letter held his own message. So true. Most likely, one of the servants had given Maria the letter. Kinzo had probably worked out an elaborate plan where the dress from the portrait would be prepared, and someone, probably Shannon, would be made to wear it and deliver the letter and the umbrella. By doing that, he could make it seem like the witch from the portrait actually existed. No, if anything, that alone was the proof that Kinzo was behind all this. In that case, it was the same as Kinzo trying to butt in on the siblings' private discussion. Then Kinzo, by announcing that he'd give everything to the person who solved the riddle, could weaken Kraus's overwhelming advantage. Now it was certain. Kinzo had eavesdropped on the siblings' discussion in the parlor earlier that day. So he had known how Kraus had staved off the attack by the other three, and to make the scales of the battle go back into balance, he had sent out the strange letter, which benefited Kraus's rivals. You know, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Kinzo was thinking that. I don't think Kinzo cares about the inheritance. I don't think Kinzo cares about, like, equal opportunity inheritance. I genuinely don't think he cares. But, like, I agree with the fact that it's like, okay, well, like, that seems most likely, right? Like, you know, you know, I think it's true that it's like Kinzo wrote the letter, but all like not because of the reasons Natsuhi is thinking. He was trying to push this crazy theory so that Rosa, who had a weak position among the siblings because of her age, would join Ava and Rudolph. Then, with a 3-to-1 advantage, they'd be able to overwhelm Kraus yet again and make their ridiculous theories get accepted by force. And by doing that, he gave them the power to resettle what had once been a nearly decided conflict. They had now started repeatedly pressing Kraus to pay them a large amount of money, okay, using the condition that all the siblings would guarantee Kraus's positions as the successor. Talk about advance payments was being brought up again despite having been rejected once. Of course, even without the story about the hidden gold, the Ushiromiya family's store of wealth was vast. That store of wealth alone was more than enough. Even if the hidden gold was buried forever along with Kinzo's death, there would be more than enough to satisfy. Therefore, even if they weren't that interested in the gold itself, Kinzo had managed to instill the lifelong fear that on the off chance that someone found the gold, that person would be granted the headship. And this kind of Achilles heel would definitely be taken advantage of by someone sooner or later. The only person with this fatal weakness was the successor, Kraus. The other siblings had they had been told by Kinzo about something that only Kraus could lose, and they had thoroughly taken advantage of that. Natsuhi, as Kraus's only ally in his painful position, and as his wife, wanted to fight alongside him. She kept trying to explain to him that the existence of the gold itself was a farce, and that there was no need for him to compromise. Kraus had always told Natsuki. He had told all of the siblings. He had always said that the hidden gold was nothing more than an illusion created by Kinzo. Therefore, Natsuki had believed it as his wife and had supported her husband on that foundation, but it was a lie. He knows the gold is real. Who came out with the gold bar? I know someone comes out with a gold bar later because I watched Umi 101. Yeah, I think Kraus comes out with the gold bar later, right? And then like Natsuki's like, bitch, why didn't you tell me? Hi, Mamenshi. Even so, Natsuki's words didn't reach Kraus. Even though Natsuki had fought so hard and lent all of her strength, he continued to fight by himself and was trying to compromise with the other 3 siblings. Natsuki sadly and weakly wondered why she could not be of use to him. This started getting angry. It had happened when everyone decided to take a short break to cool their heads. Natsuki had flared up against Kraus. Enraged, she had asked why she could not be useful to him. He had told her that he wanted to talk about something and invited her into a room that she was normally not allowed to enter. That room had been sealed with a heavy-looking padlock, and just looking at it had given her an uncomfortable feeling. Kraus with the gold bar! There's no need for you to worry about anything said by those 3 or even this suspicious person who calls herself Beatrice. After all, the gold is just a ruse created by Father. There's no way something like that could be found. Your position as the successor is a solid fact. What are you afraid of? Kraus removed the padlock on the door. He then motioned for Natsuki to enter. Enter. What is this? There's something I want you to see. I've never shown this to you before. Natsuki timidly opened the door with a dubious expression on her face. It was pitch black. Oh my god. This music, the suspense. She searched for a switch to turn on the lights, but since this was her first time in the room, she didn't know where it was. Kraus entered behind her, pushing her in, and when he closed the door before turning the lights on, the 2 were swallowed by darkness. Only the sound of Kraus locking the door rang out through the night. What are you doing? The lights. I'm turning them on now. Wait. Just as he said, when Kraus pushed a switch on the wall, a flickering light turned on and lit up the room. That is? Natsuki had her breath taken away. The room had no windows, and at a glance it appeared to be empty. In the middle of the room, a small round table had been set, and the lights brightened only that table, as if it were the leading part in a play. Dramatic ass? The dramatic lighting? On top of the table, a red tablecloth of elaborate design had been set out, covered with dust. And on that, something about the size of a grown man's arm had been set down. It's time for the dark room with my stupid husband. That something took Natsuki's breath away. Ooh, it's the bar of gold! It's a gold ingot of incredible purity. Without this, no one would have believed in the legend of the gold. It was an ingot of solid gold. Even in the faint light, it sparkled with a noble and dignified glint. This is not a proper ingot. I don't even know whether it was cast inside or outside the country. It took a high level of skill to make the purest of solid gold ingots, and in order to verify that purity, it was standard to have the original foundry and the name of the bank that guaranteed it imprinted on the gold. However, this ingot did not have that kind of seal. This mysterious gold bar had come from an unknown foundry. Look here. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a bar of gold. Natsuki, following Kraus's words, timidly approached the ingot. Right there.
Kraus pointed at the surface of the ingot. The one-winged crest. Natsuki concentrated on that section. Right there was the thin imprint of the one-winged eagle crest. Natsuki's breath was taken away once again. That's right. This is the legendary ingot that father said he received from the witch, that the president of Maruso witnessed and was allowed to select at random to take back with him, that gained the trust of the fixers in the business world. I had to use all possible means to find it. Found it before the other siblings could. Good. Then, the legend of Father's gold is... It actually exists. The gold that Ushiromiya Kinzo received from Beatrice actually exists. Kraus is hopelessly dependent on the ingot. Literally. MyGold.jpg. Impossible. So, it really does exist. Natsuki was shocked. Kraus had always said that Kinzo's gold was just a fabrication, so she had believed it as his wife, literally. However, the reality was different. Since he held definite proof, he had been more certain than any of the other siblings that the legend of the gold was true. Because of this, Kraus was deeply frightened at the possibility that someone other than himself would find the gold he'd failed to find, costing him everything. But to Natsuki, this truth was more than enough to split open her heart. She had thought that, as Kraus's wife, she should be his closest confidant, which is why she had selflessly supported him. And yet, he had hid this fact from her until today. Why? Have I been so undeserving of your trust? That has never been my intention. There's simply no need to tell you. Is that all a wife means to you? Calm down. Becoming passionate easily is one of your bad habits. Girl, don't say that. Don't say that. You can't say that, Kraus. Your wife is getting upset and you're like, oh my god, you're always so emotional. Like, don't say that, dude. Natsuki, literally. You're the one who's making me like that, aren't you? I've been supporting you as wife since I married into this family. For your sake, I threw away the family I was born into, and I've been offering up my heart and my body to serve you. And in return, this is what I get? How could you... Kraus grimaced, looking annoyed. His expression effectively communicated how much he disliked this part of Natsuki, even if he didn't say it out loud. It doesn't look like I'll be of any use to you anymore. That's fine. I can resolve the troubles with the siblings by myself. I don't need your help. Don't say that! Don't say that! This is not the part where you say that. This is the part where you beg your beautiful wife to be like, no, babe, you're everything. This is where you say that, dude. You're so stupid. That's wrong. This is the Ushiromiya family's problem. It's true that I am not permitted to wear the family crest on my body, but I am still your wife. Even so, are you saying I'm not capable of helping you? Are you? I especially wouldn't want to risk getting you involved. It would probably make your headaches even worse than they are now. Take a rest for today. The siblings will deal with the siblings' problems. It has nothing to do with you. That is all. Kraus is very emotionally constipated. What a way to say it. Well, I don't even know that it's emotional constipation. I think, like, he just genuinely views Natsuki as someone lesser than him, that, like, you know, she's not going to be able to help him, that she's, you know, shouldn't get involved, that, like, you know, she's someone to be protected rather than someone who can actually help. A dull headache tormented Natsuki. No matter what medicine she took, no matter what scents she burned, it wouldn't heal. In fact, simply wandering alone through the dark corridors and listening to the sound of the rain seemed to be a better cure. I may be Natsuki, but I was never Ushiromiya Natsuki. I have been despised and treated as a borrowed womb, and insulted when I couldn't even fill that role. Even so, I have tried to properly perform my duties as a wife, but now, even my husband has rejected me. I've done my best raising my daughter as if it were the last job left to me. However, I've had no release for my anger and sadness, and they've caused me to subconsciously strain that relationship too. Because I've been excessively strict in Jessica's education, she dislikes me thoroughly. She despises me for having no interest in anything but grades. There is no longer anything I can do for the Ushiromiya family. No, it's no good. Despite it all, I must help my husband and beat back the schemes of the other greedy siblings.
This song is so mournful. It sounds like you need So to introduce you to the magic of hashtag divorce. Literally, literally. Divorce could save you. I think the sad thing is that divorce wouldn't be able to save Jessica, though. Like, I think Jessica would still be part of the Ushiromiya family. There's no way she could take Jessica with her if she left.
The family head won't be around much longer. Eventually, Kraus will succeed the head, and the next successor will be Jessica. Strictly speaking, the man who enters the family by marrying Jessica will be the next head, but it all comes to the same thing. I have to make Jessica an excellent successor whom everyone will accept as worthy to take over the Ushiromiya family. In the days to come, that greedy Ushiromiya Eva will probably be plotting to find some fault with the main family, and if all goes as she plans, Jessica will be dragged down from the succession, with George set up in her place. It is regrettable, but George is a man and even more has matured as a person. Compared to Jessica, who is right in the middle of her rebellious period and whose grades are slightly below average, it can be seen at a glance who is more fit to succeed the head. So in order to secure Jessica's position, I need to turn her into an excellent person. And after doing that, I want to find her an excellent husband, worthy of the excellent person she will have become. A wonderful man who will truly accept Jessica and stay with her through all of life's joys and sorrows.
Oh my god. Best viewers on mods? By Mons, I mean my me.
Was Natsuhi trying to entrust her daughter with fulfilling some desire
Her own. Literally, she is. She is literally, like, living vicariously through her daughter because her life fucking sucks. Yeah, the bot. So true. Natsuhi thought back to the days when she'd had no choice but to marry into the Ushiromiya family because of that unavoidable fate. What an unavoidable fate. Oh my god. She had tried to block that from her memory. She had consciously forgotten about it and had actively attended to the life she'd been given as Ushiromiya Natsuhi. And in doing so, she had built up a new life. But just now, it felt like all of that had been casually rejected. How should I think as I live my life? I do not know. Natsuhi helplessly rested her head against the glass of the window. My reflection, we're really in it now. Many such cases. The glass, which is cool thanks to the raindrops beating against it, felt somehow refreshing, even though it should have been emotionless. Right then, it seemed to be the only thing that could understand Natsuhi. At that point, even if someone had appeared, Natsuhi didn't intend to pay any attention to them. But she did pay attention, because it was her beloved daughter.
Oh, it's you, Mom. What the heck are you doing in a place like this? I thought you were a ghost. Just like always, her words were rough and not at all like a girl's. Instinctively, words of rebuke rose to Natsuhi's throat. However, their strength gave out and they didn't escape her lips. Jessica, forgive me, but my headache is awful. Please leave me be. I see. Jessica was seeing her mother in a position of feebleness for the first time, so she was considerably disconcerted. Until just now, she had been filled with contempt for all of the parents, including her mother. But now, those feelings had been completely swept away. Her mother's utterly exhausted face had wiped them all out. In its place, the words George had told her floated up to the back of her mind. Our parents are doing their best in their own way, and because their families are counting on them, they can't afford to keep everything pleasant and have a heavy responsibility to fight. Maybe her mother had been standing around in this dimly lit hallway because no one had tried to understand that part of her. Ghost mom, my ghastly mother. Jessica hated her mother. So, she had no intention of speaking kindly to Natsuhi just because she was looking a bit frail. So when she attempted to speak kindly to her mother anyway, she had to clench her fists and gather up the words from deep in her heart. It sounds like you've really got your hands full with that meeting thing. Oh my god! Oh my god! Are you all seeing this? Are you all seeing this? Are you all seeing this? You see this? That's literally what Kraus just told her. That's literally what Kraus just told her and like what she's so upset by. And she's saying it right to her daughter who is trying so hard for once to be there for her mom. This is insane. This is insane. It has nothing to do with you. Please go up somewhere else. Is your headache bad? Should I go get some medicine? You don't have to trouble yourself. Please, leave me alone. Natsuhi wasn't being cold. She just wanted her daughter to go far away so that she wouldn't have to bump against Natsuhi's own short temper. But there's no chance that Jessica would realize this. Okay. Jessica hung her head, looking sad. Seeing that expression, Natsuhi recognized the kindness that Jessica was trying to muster. Great point, let's all die. She gave her head a small shake to drive away her own unkind feelings. Then I'll leave. I'll be with the other cousins so I don't get in the way of the adults. See you later. Wait there. She called Jessica, who was trying to leave, and looked lonely, to a stop. What? Thank you for being so considerate. It isn't good of me to go to sleep and leave you alone. Oh, don't talk like that. You'll bring bad luck. I've made you worried, but I'm okay now. I will go. If I let my daughter see me this feeble any longer, I'll only make her more uneasy. With that thought in mind, Natsuhi left Jessica with words of gratitude and made to depart. Aww. This time, Jessica called out to her mother's back. Natsuhi stopped and turned around, asking what business Jessica had with her. But Jessica herself didn't know why she'd stopped her mother. And for a while, she smiled wryly, muttering to herself as she hesitated over what to say. She was poking around in her pocket when her hand touched something and she took it out. Hey, Mom! I was given a charm today. What was it? A charm against magic? I'm pretty sure that you were supposed to hang it, from your doorknob, I think. I forget. There's no point in me having it, so I'll let you take it. It was the scorpion charm Maria had given her on the beach. Oh, I forgot to take notes. Um, Although she'd heard of its various effects for Maria, Jessica's mind had gone blank, and she was just barely able to say even that much. Here, have this stupid charm. Jessica, thinking that her mother probably wouldn't accept it anyway, immediately drew back the hand she had stuck out, grasping the charm. So when Natsuhi came back to take it, she was extremely shocked. What is this? Some kind of prize toy? Well, I think it's something like that. I guess you wouldn't really expect a charm that looks like a toy to do anything. But her mother took the charm from where she grasped it in her hand. Thank you. I'll take good care of it. Sometime soon, in exchange, why don't I give you a charm that was important to me when I was a child? It's not like that's why I gave it to you. But, well, if you really say so, then I'll rest for now. My headache is awful. Try not to stay up too late. Sure. Natsui put the charm in her pocket and turned away. She then disappeared into the dark hall. I love this interaction. It's literally everything to me. Okay, I'm tired now, and that's a good stopping point, I think. So, we didn't get to the murders. Sorry for lying, everyone. I don't know if I said I would get to the murders, but we didn't get to the murders. But I'm like tired and I'm like sleepy. And I am really struggling with my words. I don't know if you could tell. But like, I think I fumbled a lot more words this time. But it'd be like that. Thank you all for coming. I missed streaming. I missed Umi. And yeah, I hope next week we can read some more. Yay, yippee, yay. But for now, I'm going to end stream. Bye bye, everyone.